Hi there, this is Mega Ginger on the Ginger Transformer podcast, welcoming you back. Today we're going to be talking about the Predacons. No, not the ones from Rise of the Beasts. But no, we're here to talk about the G1 Beast Wars Predacons. Yeah, not even the proper G1 Predacons, the combiner team, the actual subgroup, the descendants of the Decepticons. So, what to say about them? Well, they have a very familiar named leader, Megatron, who, as far as I'm aware, didn't have a different name. He's always just been Megatron. I'm assuming he took the name in honor of the original Megatron at some point, but I can neither confirm nor deny this. But the odds of there being two Megatrons straight from the get-go, As with the Maximals, Beast Wars is all about basically them going back in time. For the American series. For the Japanese series, it's set in their present. But unlike the Maximals, who don't know why they're there in the past, the Predacons, well, at least Megatron does. He has the golden disc, doesn't he? He's taking his crew back in time to a pivotal point before the arc revives the Autobots and Decepticons in the future. He's got the golden disc telling them where this will be, where that will be. It's basically a recording of prehistory. The golden disc, quite fascinating. And Megatron uses it to go back in time to a point where he can find the arc, get his Predacons in there, and kill Optimus Prime, essentially changing the course of the war and leading to the victory of the Decepticons / Predacons. That is the actual reason for him going back in time. After 3 seasons of battling Maximals and losing people in his team, I mean, the team is pretty consistent through all continuities. You get at the start anyway, your Scorponok, Pterosaur, Waspinator, and I think Pterosaur and Scorponok are actually the first to die in Beast Wars at the start of season 2, which is weird because of the animation. As I mentioned in my last video, the budget costs for doing that kind of animation at the time it was done, they couldn't have more than a certain amount of characters created for whatever reason. Yeah, to bring in new characters like Inferno or Quickstrike, they had to get rid of certain characters. So the first Predacons to die on screen, the first out of all of them to die on screen, basically, is Pterosaur, which I hated after him. I quite liked him. I was hoping he'd just come back somehow. And Scorponok, Beast Wars Scorponok. I didn't mind him going. He was a boring character. He was very loyal. You don't just want someone who's blindly following orders. I mean, Dinobot was with him. As soon as he got to Earth, he buggered off and joined the Maximals. So, also dies, funnily enough, later on. After rejoining the Predacons, kinda, and then there's a long story. But anyway, between seasons 1 and 3, we see the Predacons getting beaten and beaten and beaten. They have a few victories because, like they say, the Maximals have no idea really what's going on, why they're there, why they're doing what they're doing, until the Predacons uncover the arc. Then they kind of piece it together. We also get a visit from Predacon Ravage, which is the Generation 1 Ravage, just he's actually got a body now, proper body. He's part of the secret police along with Tarantulas. It's, they're both Predacons. Well, one's a Decepticon, one's a Predacon, but they're both secret police who work for the Tripredacus Council. Yeah, it's like a triumvirate of Predacons who oversee things, try to keep the peace with the Maximals in the future, who you never actually hear about in the Japanese Beast Wars 2 or Neo cartoons. So who knows what happens to them? Cicadacon, C-Clamp, and Ramhorn, not the Generation 1 Ramhorn. It's just a different Ramhorn altogether. Basically, by the end of the 3rd season of Beast Wars, American Beast Wars, Megatron's the only Predacon left. I mean, Waspinator's still alive, but he's been left on Earth, as a head. He was blown up. And pretty much everyone else, all the other Predacons you get to meet, apart from Black Arachnia, who defected to the Maximals again, well, just like Dinobot, they must have realised they had a better pension plan. You don't die. And all the Predacons between season 1 and 3 you get to know, they all die, basically, either in battle with the Maximals or when Megatron at the end of season 3 just goes nuts after finding their nemesis, the original Decepticon spaceship, and just starts pushing buttons. Blow this up, blow that up, blow the next thing up. And it's like, why? Why are you confused as to why all your people are leaving you and joining the Maximals? Optimus Prime ain't going to start shooting his own people. That brings us on to the Beast Machines series. Megatron's escaped the clutches of the Maximals, but the way he escapes, the way they come into it, well, it's a spoiler because Beast Machine is quite higgledy-piggledy with its storyline. A lot of season 1 is basically filling in the gaps of how Megatron escaped, what happened to Cybertron, why the Maximals are the way they are. And you don't even really know that Megatron's alive for a good few episodes. He's like literally the only Predacon in the whole thing. We have a Spark from Waspinator, who somehow ends up on Cybertron after being abandoned on Earth. His Spark is on Cybertron somehow and gets put into the Vehicon thrust. So technically we have another Predacon, but not really. But the Predacons, they don't really have a lot to do apart from like shout rubbish and die between like the whole American series, Beast Wars and Beast Machines. There are more characters and more character development in Beast Wars 2 and Beast Wars Neo. Beast Wars 2, for example, the Predacons eventually do all end up with weird looking half animal, half machine kind of beast modes, but primarily for most of that, they are in they have like tank modes, jet modes. They're still Predacons. You've got Galvatron, different Galvatron, as far as I'm aware, leads this faction to the planet Gaia to take all the Amongulus energy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's subtitled from Japanese. You don't hear the word, you know. Probably not in Japanese. So he goes there to take the energy. Leo Convoy turns up with a group of Maximals to stop him. But Galvatron himself, you don't see what he turns into at first, until after he's dropped into a pit of this energy, he becomes like a giant dragon thing with a triple changing mode of a kind of almost tank, a drill tank. You have other ones like Starscream and BB, not the Starscream we know, not at all. Just must be a popular name. Megaplex, another one we know. He turns into a tank. I think you have thrust and dirge, different thrust, different dirge, both turn into jets. And eventually you do see the Seacons in it as well, but the pirates are not actually part of the main Predacon force. They just come in and start raiding because they can. And eventually all the Predacons do eventually get kind of beast modes. One actually ends up looking pretty much the spit of Tripticon, which is weird. Don't know why. Others are sharks, and it's weird. It's weird because you don't see what it fully is, like the beast itself. I mean, for the one that I know turns into a shark, it's like half shark, half robotic shark with lots of guns hanging off it. You know, exactly what you expect from Predacons. You know, that series basically ends with the Predacons are indeed defeated by the Maximals. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it is a TV series worth watching as long as you can stand subtitles and a lot of just cheesy stuff. But I personally I like the next series better. We had more interaction with actual Predacons under the command of Magnabos, I think his name was. He's like a triple combiner Predacon. Like 3 parts of him come together to make one person. You know, then it's like pterodactyl. I forget the other two. One's like Sludge's Dinobot mode, and the other one I think is a T-Rex. I think, and they all come together to form Magmatron, Magnabos. Yeah, Magmatron. Yeah, Magmatron. I was right. We get to meet him and his Predacons. They have a bit more depth to them than the ones we meet in the previous series. Ironically, I can remember like maybe none of the names, but they are more in-depth characters. They do turn into beasts, you know, and their boss actually has a bit of the previous Decepticon honor in his Predacon programming, because when he finds out that 3 newcomers on the board are trying to bring back Unicron, he basically says, right, well, we're going to stop what we're doing. We're not teaming up with the Maximals, but we're going to join in the fight at least, because we don't want Unicron coming back. I think that's sensible. You know, we don't want Unicron coming back. but none of the strips are happy with that. They're all pretty much just like, we don't want to stop Unicron, or more to the point, we just don't want to get involved. And that's when they kind of tail off, like the Predacons themselves tail off towards the end of that series, because they're basically spectators. Pretty much it. They're spectators. They don't want to take part in this. I mean, we do see a lot of these Predacons in the Gathering and the Ascension comics. Obviously, we see the robot modes, not beast modes. Once again, as with at the end of those comics, and what you would probably assume would happen at the end of the series, like I said with the Maximal podcast, all of it's been for nothing, really. Megatron comes back, he siphons the sparks out of absolutely everybody and puts them all in a big container, like Maximal's Predacons both. Boom. And there's it's like there's been no point pretty much all of Beast Wars after that. I mean, yes, they all get freed at the end. They wake up to a techno-organic Cybertron. Whether they're happy about that or not, who knows? Because it basically just ends with them all coming over the hill. But it makes it hard not to feel that all of Beast Wars was just leading up to defeat on both sides by Megatron. In my opinion, a lot of episodes were done for nothing because of that. All of us Decepticons seem to go on and on and on and on and on for quite some time, enough so that they have descendants in the form of Predacons and the Maximals. But after all that, I mean, that's it. The story basically ends there. We're back, we're 10,000 years in the future. Machine Wars is done and dusted. Cybertron's techno-organic. Are they living all happily ever after? We don't know. That is the official end. Who knows? But you do get to see a lot of Predacon influence in the IDW comics, which is weird because they're either minions of Unicron or part of a planet full of animal transformers. There doesn't seem to be a divide between Maximal and Predacon here. It's just like it's like you're a minion of Unicron, you're not a Maximal Predacon, but you're a minion of Unicron. So you get Maximals in there as well, so you're just a minion of Unicron. Or you are just from this planet full of animal transformers, who's under the protection of a Titan who really doesn't like standard formers, as they're called by Cheetor in it. He actually does say, yeah, our Titan doesn't like that, and I think it's Starscream comes and goes, doesn't like who? Yeah, our Starscream, G1 Starscream. Turns around and goes, doesn't like who? And this giant Titan bursts out of a volcano and charges for him, and he just goes, yeah, standard formers, which I'm assuming just means normal transformers, ones that turn into vehicles and cassette players and guns and jets and stuff. But you don't really see a lot. I mean, there's a lot more development than I thought, as I said in the last podcast, a lot more development to these characters, and it explains where a lot of them come from for like the toy lines, because I just thought, once again, say the last podcast, I just thought a lot of them were there just to be remade for toy lines. And it's like, I'm not really interested in that. I want to see characters I've seen, not just saw in one panel of attacking other Cybertronians. So finding those two series was quite good. Beast Wars 2 and Beast Wars Neo. I would recommend them both. But yeah, there's not really much to say in the Predacons, because they don't have many characters through everything. No one that's really interesting. There are a lot of, they come into one of two categories. The same as the Decepticons. Loyal to a fault, gonna betray their leader at any given moment. A lot of them come into this one here. Some of them that know what to do, and they have to kind of wait to pick a side, but eventually they go in one of those two columns. Betray the leader and take the place for myself, or loyal to a fault to the point where they die because they're idiots. Anyway, this has been the Ginger Transformer. Until next time, take care, stay safe, roll out, and I'll see you again.